AEW has come a long way already since its 2019 inception, when it burst on the scene providing an exciting alternative to what some had considered stale competition in the American pro wrestling market. With most of the biggest stars back now from various injuries and their first PC and console video game on the way, it seems like the company is still gaining momentum. Fight Forever will undoubtedly swing that momentum even further, in one direction or the other. Many, including myself, were underwhelmed at the initial mobile game offerings and are excited to see how the AEW landscape translates onto our home screens. At the time of this video's writing, the game is scheduled to be shown very soon in a playable capacity at GamesCom in Germany. Not too much is known just yet though. The question remains, will we get something universally loved, like No Mercy, or will we have another WWE 2K20 on our hands? Only time will tell, but for now, here are 6 ways that All Elite Wrestling can make Fight Forever a classic. Number 1. Make Danhausen the highest rated wrestler in the game.
Very nice, very evil.
Okay, fine, I'm just kidding, but it would be a pretty cool April Fool's prank update for a day. Okay, starting at the actual number 1. Update rosters periodically. As of right now, we have no way of knowing if AEW games will be annualized like the yearly WWE releases, 2K21 notwithstanding, but regardless if they are or not, one way AEW and game developer Yuke's, who has a long history of wrestling game development experience, can win over fans is to keep rosters up to date after the game releases. There are always some new debuts that don't make the cut in time for the game's development cycle and release, and unfortunately, characters get left out of the game. There's also some undercard wrestlers who are still fan favorites to many, but for whatever reason don't make the cut initially as well. Having an online create-a-wrestler mode helps address this, but the limitations of those modes, particularly around movesets and entrances, can never really match a fully realized, in-game programmed wrestler. Now ideally, all, or at least some of these potential roster additions, would be free updates. But I understand developers need to eat too, so even if they come at a small cost, I'm on board and I still think they'd sell well. If you give us, say, a few packs containing 2 or 3 wrestlers each for around $4 to $7, you'd probably make a lot of fans very happy. Even that price might be a little bit optimistic, but we'll just have to wait and see. Number 2. Strike a good balance between the arcade and sim feel of wrestling games. This is a problem found with many sports games, not specific just to wrestling. It's a delicate balance to ensure your game is firmly in that zone that lies between too arcadey and too sim-like. All too often, I've played a hockey game, or a football, soccer, basketball, a baseball title, and I'm either overwhelmed with complex controls and at times superfluous mechanics, or on the other end of the spectrum, I quickly realize that I'm playing a button-mashing bore where my brain just zones out and I grow tired of the repetitive nature quickly. Gamers these days demand more than the simple, one-dimensional gameplay brought by 80s and 90s wrestling and arcade games, and rightfully so. But at the end of the day, for the game to succeed, Fight Forever needs to also have an anyone can pick up and play element to attract new gamers. One franchise that's always done a fantastic job of striking a balance between simple arcade fun versus deeper skill-based combat has been Super Smash Bros. Let's hope Yuke's can do it here too. Number 3. Allow online multiplayer career mode. Speaking of deeper game mechanics, one thing wrestling fans love is an in-depth career mode. These are often single player and offer up some great variety in between matches, a nice sense of progression, and occasionally hilarious and entertaining cutscenes that help make things come alive and offer a closer parody to the television shows that the games are based on. Another great way Fight Forever can really separate itself from the pack would be to include a fully realized online multiplayer component to their career mode. Career mode itself has been confirmed, but wow, wouldn't the replay value rise dramatically if you could create your own versions of Dynamite, Rampage, Dark, Elevation, and all the pay-per-views, but play along with friends as well in that mode? Especially since Kenny Omega confirmed that the game will be cross-platform, let's hope it's also cross-save for career mode. Maybe I'm asking too much, but if so, there's always room for improvement and new features in a sequel, right? Number 4, make sure the audio is on point. Hey, get a load of good audio Jones over here. It's been said that the less that you think about a game's audio, the better it is. And to some extent that's true. It's like lighting or makeup in a movie or play. If you're actively thinking about it, something probably went wrong, since your focus should be on the story and the actors on the stage. It's the same with games, and specifically, I'm talking more about the actual sound design and effects versus the soundtrack. More on that in a bit. But in terms of things like audience noise, chants, the sounds that wrestlers' bodies make when they hit the mat, or when they're hit with one of the 40 weapons available for use in the game. I'm talking about their voices in cutscenes and taunts, and perhaps most importantly, in the play-by-play and the commentary. Yuke's would do well to make sure these are all executed terrifically. Again, it's something that's essentially true for all sports games, but some audio will inevitably be repeated several times during most players' gameplay, if they play long enough, and these voice lines are often the guiltiest party in a wrestling game. It's just the nature of the genre, so they need to be sure that play-by-play is not annoying or grating in any way.
And Chris Jericho will match up tonight. We can't take our eyes off this match. Hurry, hurry! Walls of Jericho! Walls of Jericho! Ouch!
If Fight Forever can hit us with a perfectly timed "both these guys" chant from the crowd when two baby faces are 15 minutes into a grueling match, it will really help with the immersion and therefore overall enjoyment of the game. If Fight Forever is already headed towards a T rating for violence or blood, throw in a holy shit chant and make sure we hear Bowens grunting clearly when he scissors daddy ass. It's the little things, guys. As I mentioned, the last component of this is the wrestlers' intro themes. It's a pretty safe assumption that we'll get all the Mikey Ruckus penned themes that accompany various wrestlers to the ring on all the AEW TV shows. But I'm not taking it for granted that wrestlers with licensed themes, such as CM Punk, Jon Moxley, and Jungle Boy, will have their usual intro music as well. I hope they do, but it seems recently AEW chose not to renew the rights to the Pixies' Where Is My Mind for Orange Cassidy's intro, so I think it could go either way, and we'll just have to wait and see on this part. In its relatively short existence, AEW has run the gamut on gimmick matches, often with resounding success, though sometimes they've also backfired. This really puts the pressure on the game to include as many of these as possible. Cage matches, intergender options, and the infamous exploding deathmatch are already confirmed as in, but that leaves a lot of options still left on the table, and only 9 match types are supposedly going to be available at launch. I don't think it's reasonable to expect every match type, and frankly, I can live without a Mimosa Mayhem option, but there are still so many that I hope have made the cut. Surely some will hate this idea, but what if they took it even a step further? Like, how cool would it be if a certain wrestler's stats got buffed in a certain match? Darby's endurance improves in a coffin match. Bryan Danielson goes Super Saiyan in an I Quit or submission match. And FTR is just a bit harder to pin on that last fall in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I think that'd be pretty sweet, and it could always be toggled off in the options for people looking for a more fair competitive fight with a friend or online. Fighting games can live or die based on their variety, and a large assortment of match types to choose from will help immensely. Another topic closely related to this is the last one on my list. At number 6, make sure at least 6 people can play together online. AEW just recently revealed a new Trios title and a tournament to crown the inaugural champs. In light of this, I think having multiplayer limited to any less than 6 people would be a big mistake. Ideally, 8 or more would be even better, though the lag might be considerable at that point. In any case, we need casino battle royales to feel full. We need blood and guts to have insane levels of multi-layered violence. And if we're getting Stadium Stampede, we need it to look like a whole football team is out there battling on the field. To a lot of us, wrestling games are party games, perfect for a group of friends on the couch of all different levels of skill. If we can have some fun, larger match modes and gimmicks, it'll help new fans join in on the fun. After all, the more the merrier when it comes to the squared circle. And there you have it, 6 things that I think would help make AEW Fight Forever a big success. I'm excited to see what the game has to offer on its eventual release, rumored to be late 2022. It's among the games I'm most excited for heading into September and the holiday season, along with the Turtles Collection and Splatoon 3. Will it live up to mine and your expectations? That remains to be seen, but if the game does fare well with fans and critics alike, it'll be a strong indicator that this could turn into a full-fledged series, which would be some real cool cowboy shit.